I wanted to hop on here and kind of talk about a situation that I encountered more. I got this full story on it today when the listing was reported. It was a condo here in Barrie, and I can't really say the address or the brokerage representing the seller or the seller's information, etc. But I can talk about what happened and transpired. So, I had a client that wanted to view a listing on Friday, March 22nd at 10 a.m. in the morning. Agent reached out to me, actually called me that evening on Thursday or afternoonish and said, "Hey, can you bring your client earlier because I have an offer on the property and I kind of want you guys to see it too." My client works overnight, so we couldn't see the property. We couldn't change the time. Send me an email that afternoon or evening, I'm going to say, saying, "Okay, irrevocability." I'm going to read the email. Irrevocability on that is, give me 1 minute. I got to find it here. Here it is. Said that irrevocability on the offer is Friday, March 22nd at 11:59 p.m. So I communicate to my guy, we can go see it the next day. We have lots of time to deal with this, not a problem. Go to the unit, client, my buyer client likes the property, the condo, talked it over a bit, works overnights. Go get some rest. I'll do up an offer and then we can discuss the price. We have till midnight to get something in. Nothing else is communicated whatsoever. At second email, and I would love to show this because I really believe that agents should be held accountable and this should be public knowledge to all the sellers if unethical or infractions are being done to the public. I'm big on this. Sends an email. Hello all. This was at, let me see the time here, at 7:12 p.m., March 22nd, 2024. Hello all. Thanks for showing my listing. Please note this unit is sold firm. Deposit is received. System will be updated tomorrow. System got updated today. To my surprise, he represented the buyer and the seller. So I called them out on it because what I feel bad for is the seller. I felt the property purchase price was too low and we were going to go higher. So I sent him this text. I said, I sent this at 12:46 today. I saw you double ended the transaction on the property. You communicated that you had an irrevocability till 11:59 p.m. on the 22nd. That was in the email that you sent to me. Then at 7:12, you sent an email saying that the property is firm. You didn't follow protocol. You didn't communicate that the offer was your own. He told me in conversation that it was his own. Well, after I called him out on it, after we had a phone discussion after this text I sent him, I saw it on the board. You didn't communicate the offer was your own. Also on the listing, it said March 26th at 7 p.m. Anytime that you're going to do a preemptive, and in the listing write up, seller can entertain preemptive offers. Anytime that you get an offer in, let's just say it's 8 o'clock tonight, you have to immediately go to the listing and change it and communicate to everybody that we are doing offers and they are tonight at 9 o'clock, as an example. I go on to say you needed to change that on the listing, as I mentioned. You sold your seller short. You needed to call your sellers. Anyway, I went on to tell him you should call your clients and come forward and say you did something unethical. He goes on to tell me that I charge zero commission and you don't know what all kinds of work I did. It doesn't matter what kind of work you did. I really believe that seller got robbed. They didn't get communicated that there was another offer or potential offer coming in. Agent didn't communicate to me to say, "Hey, are you guys doing something? We may need to move this till 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock." Nothing at all. An email saying it's firm. The offer price was very low. My client was willing to pay more than that. But I'm not necessarily saying that they should have, if I did submit, they could have taken my offer. That was a firm deal, but give them that choice to make. So ultimately, I really feel bad for that seller in this situation where they could have had multiple offers on the unit and they probably would have got more money than they had for the unit, what they received. My question is, were they notified of any other offers? This agent that did it his financial gain, even though he says there was no commission charged. It doesn't matter. As soon as you say that, you need to let the agents know one of the offers is mine and I'm doing a commission change. This is protocol. This is standard stuff. This agent's been in the business 15 years. So, in short and saying, I'm seeing so many sellers get robbed today from this kind of nonsense when I see double ending going on. We had some changes effective December 1st where RICO, Canadian Real Estate Council, don't really like agents and double ending it. It, it's hard to have your best interest in fiduciary duties when you're representing a buyer and a seller. The brokerages were given an opportunity to say you either can do it or you take the standing that you're not doing it. Our brokerage doesn't do that. So if someone calls me on one of my listings, I'm not showing it because I can't represent a buyer and seller. They're designated representatives, and that's what keeps everything on the up and up. I really believe that. This agent, I'm telling you right now, did not work on the best interest of the client. He worked on the best interest of himself, and he got double ended the deal. And I don't know what the commission structure was, but he didn't follow protocol. So if there's sellers out there that have their properties listing, and I'm sure we're coming into a spring market here and things are kind of been picking up for the last few weeks in the lower price point properties, I'm going to tell you right now, you need to really make sure that you're getting communicated with everything. Ask to be CC'd on everything. I'm telling you the truth, do it, because this agent didn't communicate whatsoever to his seller that there was other parties offered. He didn't communicate it on a platform where we can all get communicated on instantly. And then he accepted the offer at 7 o'clock or whatever, saying it was firm and no one else had an opportunity. That is wrong. Okay, this is going on today. I'm going to say pick your real estate agents fairly, in a sense. Maybe that's not the best word. Interview them. Okay, go to the RICO website, punch their name, and see if they have any infractions. Ask for references. Look at their social media. See what the testimonials are like. Heck, ask for some of their clients' phone numbers. Say, I want to call a couple of your clients to see how you dealt with this, how you presented yourself, maybe get some feedback. Do whatever, because I'm telling you right now, I've seen this year after year continuously happen in our industry where the financial gain is made by the agents and the sellers lose. I've seen this. I went through an issue last year, no, 2 years ago. It was horrible. I might as well tell the story. This is a local agent in my community in Barrie, a big team that presents himself as very, professional and the whole bit. That's the parents. They weren't professional in this instance. It was a property, and I'm not going to say the property or disclose anything else. There were 6 offers on the property. The agent tells, again, they double-ended the deal because I pulled it up, and I got the listing later on, but I'm coming to that. So I asked, how did this all transpire? There were 6 offers, okay? The agent said, you need to go $100,000 more to get this property. She's representing the seller and now representing the buyer, bringing a buyer into this transaction. So the buyer says, okay, writes the offer, I'll agree to that, $100,000 more. Surprise, surprise, property sold for $1,256,000. I think that was in 2021 or 2022, just when things started to go down. Next day, the buyer calls the agent up and says, you know what? Out of those, you communicated that there were 6 offers on the property. I'm number 6. I want you to go back to number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and say the property is still available. I can't afford this property. It's too much money. This isn't right for me. I can't do it. Here's the agent's remarks. I'm sorry, I don't have their numbers anymore. Total lies. Anytime there's a transaction in real estate, it's called an 801 form. It lists the buyers, lists the brokerages, and we have everything on record on our phones of who showed properties. That's just a bunch of bullshit. So long story short, this buyer ends up closing the transaction because the agent put so much fear in her that she's going to get sued. Do you know what that brokerage made? The double ending team made on that transaction? This sticks in my head all the time. I don't even need to get a calculator out. $64,250 for one transaction. Whose best interest was the agents representing? I'm going to tell you right now. It wasn't the buyer, it wasn't the seller. Unethical practices about disclosing the offer. You can't disclose any parts of that offer at all. It's unethical. You can't. It's ethics. You can't be doing that. You're working for the best interest of your seller. That's not working for the best interest of your seller. They could have got more, maybe, but they double in the deal. So there's another 30 some $1,000s in commission. That's why they disclose that. Telling the buyer client that we don't know the numbers of the brokerage and placing fear into them saying you need to close or you'll get sued. Long story short, they didn't go back to that brokerage to sell the property. She called me. Of course, I pulled up the information, and the market has shifted from then on too. Long story short, we sold the property for $930,000 a year and a half later. She lost 300 and some $1,000 in this transaction. She couldn't afford it to begin with. So this goes on. Sellers, I really want you to do your due diligence out there. Interview multiple people for it. Do everything you can do to get to know that agent, to find out if they're ethical, for one. And there's some great agents out there. I've dealt with so many great agents, but I've dealt with so many bad apples over the years, and this is my first one this year so far, where it's just wrong, and consumers are getting impacted by this and getting financially hurt. And sellers, to me, in that transaction that I was trying to be a part of, the offer was substantially more than what they got, and the seller was never informed. And I called the agent out. He ended up calling me and having a discussion. And I said, you didn't follow protocol. You didn't do anything right with that. You should have done this. You didn't work on behalf of your seller. Okay. You should have given us the first opportunity and told us we're going to move it to 9 o'clock. We could have, everything was ready, just needed to get signing. And that would have taken us 10 minutes to do. And the response is, well, I charge zero and you don't know all the work I've done. I don't care what the work you've done. You didn't do enough work for your seller client at all. They should have been presented with offers, not just your offer. So if anyone wants any more questions or has some comments, I'd love to hear from them. And I always get back to people when they comment. But folks, be careful out there. It's the Wild West sometimes. Take care.